Hello and welcome back to another episode of Project Oarai. And we're finally here. We're on the last episode of Osaka Castle after having an absolute massive headache, which I'll get into in a few minutes. But before then, there are just a few things that I just want to kind of clear up, if you will. And I just want to state that this is not a one-for-one for Osaka Castle. So please don't think that's what it is. I have tried to go as close to a one-for-one, if even that. But I'm not good at one-for-ones, and if you'll remember, I was originally building this for somewhere else in the city before I relocated it from the other side of the city to just below the city centre. So with doing that, not only did I lose some room and also came up with a lot of other problems. It's not the fact that if it would have stayed where it was, it would have been a one-for-one. It absolutely wouldn't have been, because I never set out from the get-go with this for it to be a one-for-one. I'll be honest, this is the first time I've ever tried to build anything on the scale that this is on. It was super tedious, and there's a lot of things I've had to learn by actually building this through just trial and error and trying to get it to even look remotely similar to it even on Google Earth with the assets that I liked and thought looked good, and as well with what I thought would fit the theme around the city. So yeah, I just wanted to clear that up. It's not a one-for-one. It's kind of a one for a half. Obviously, I've taken the shape and whatnot and the buildings in certain locations, but I've also changed a few things. I would have loved to have done the pond that's in this area that we're going to get to later. I would have loved to have done it a lot more closer to how it is on Google Earth, but I was encountering a lot of problems while trying to build it that way, so I've had to opt for a different way for that. Not only that, I did put on my YouTube community page yesterday that I'm basically hard crashing. Like it's not a memory problem, it's not you've got too many asset problems. I'm just hard crashing, and what I mean by hard crashing is the game is crashing to desktop with a white box saying the game has stopped responding. There's no lag before it happens, there's no trigger to it that I've tried to duplicate. It just pretty much taps out at around 20 to 30 minutes. Now, I don't want to panic anyone as much as I'm panicking, but I've tried to rush this episode out in a way, because I said that this would be out on Sunday or Monday, but I've tried to get it done as quickly as possible, and I've basically, it's 3 o'clock in the morning now, and I basically just want to get this over and done with, as annoying as it is with the crashes, so I can look into how to fix this crashing, because the last thing I want is to lose Project Oarai. I don't want that to happen. I've put a lot of time into Project Oarai, and yes, it's going to end one day, but I was hoping that it would end through me finishing it and not through the game, maybe. because I've looked on the limiters for the game, and I'm not close to tapping any of them out. So I'm not sure why this is happening. I'm hoping that once this video's out and I've got some time and I can sit down, I can just purge a lot of mods and assets that I don't use anymore, or there were a few different mods that I were trying out that are disabled. I know sometimes even when mods are disabled, they can still cause problems because the game still knows that they're there. So I have that to check out. But as far as like mod compatibility and stuff like that, there was no errors, so I'm kind of ruling that out. And I don't know, all I can think of right now is to just do a big purge of assets, because I've got a lot of assets right now. Like I'm over 10k assets right now, and I know that I can drop that back down to about 8,000, because there's just some that I've got downloaded that are for future episodes that I've had in mind to do with these buildings. So I could just unsubscribe from them and favorite them, so that when I go back to that episode I can be like, oh, I'll download it now because I'm using it. So I'm gonna try and do that after this episode and hopefully fix Project Oarai. If not, the other solution possibly that I was thinking of trying was obviously making 2 saves, backing it up on another hard drive, so I've always got one to go back to. But I was thinking of removing the other locations on the map, like the power plant, the Odori, Nunoshida, and I was thinking of moving them to kind of their own area. Well, not their own save really. So basically what I'm trying to get at is it would still be Project Oarai, but whenever we built anything not in the city, I would load the other save and we would continue finishing off Odori and the other parts of Nunoshida that aren't done yet still. And then when it came time to going back to the city, I would just load the city up, if that kind of makes any sense. That's the only other solution that I've been thinking of right now. Because I do think, and I was thinking this when I did it, but I am pushing it, having all these heavily detailed villages and offset areas, as well as the power plant, and now as well as the size of the city. And I do think that maybe, even though I'm not at the limit that the games are showing, I'm at like some sort of internal limit or stress, or I don't know. I'm just kind of I just don't know. I'm just kind of throwing ideas at the wall. But yeah, that's my idea. I'm thinking of just making 2 saves, and I kind of just cut the top half of the map out of the city, and then for the villages and stuff, I just chop out the bottom half of the map, which is where the city would be. And maybe we continue like that. Because as for right now, I don't know. I still need to look at it, because obviously I'm just doing the voiceover right now for the last episode of Osaka Castle, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, because we've been doing Osaka Castle for a very long time now. And I'll be honest, when I started Osaka Castle, I didn't realize, funnily enough, how big of a project this would be. I just thought, I'll have it done in like 2 or 3 episodes, you know. we'll be good. I just didn't realize how tedious and how much. And I just want to say that when I say tedious, I don't mean that in a bad way, because I love stuff like this. I just didn't realize, because obviously I've never built anything like this before. I was literally at the time biting off way more than I can chew. I'd put it in a random area that I hadn't really thought out properly. I hadn't really even thought out the shape or even tried to properly test out the areas to make sure everything would fit. So yeah, I've learned a lot from it, and it'll make me better in the future, hopefully, when we build other things. So it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. Or should I say it's just a blessing in disguise? Probably a better way of putting it. I should probably apologize. It is super late that I'm recording this, and I am kind of sleepy. But it's all good because we've got the episode out, and well, we've got the episode finished. After I finish recording this, I'll just be rendering it and going to bed, and then hopefully uploading it at some point in the day. Okay, so back onto the episode. Now, I do kind of do something a little bit weird here. I kind of have done the episode backwards in a way. And what I mean by that is we started off the episode with the inside of the castle, whereas I actually built the outside section that was remaining first. And then I built the middle last. And the reason why I've edited it in this way, where we start off with the middle, is because I just figured that that's the meat of the episode, if you will. Like, that's the chunky part. At least in my head, that's what it feels like. Because the outside it's a lot of repetitive stuff. Putting down grass, putting down trees, putting down benches, just the same stuff kind of over and over again from left to right, just to finish off that big block section. And the only thing that I kind of did a little bit different, which isn't on Google Earth, I just kind of threw it in because I wanted them kind of areas for my city anyways, because Osaka Castle is massive, and okay, it's close to the town center, and we've got some subway access for it as well. But I also wanted there to be this massive car park that we're going to be building later on towards the back end of the episode, and it's just a massive car park, to be honest. I haven't gone like massively heavy in detail with it. I've just tried to keep it a very basic car park that, you know, doesn't look like it's too fancy and that type of stuff, because it's attached to the castle, so it's not kind of super upkeep or super not upkeep. You know, I've tried to make it look very I don't even know what kind of word I'm looking for. It's not good. It could be because it's super late, so I'm going to use that as an excuse again. But yeah, I've added in a massive car park just because I wanted there to be one. It's because I want all the different modes of everything for it, really. I want the subway. I want it to be able to be walked to. You can get to it from the train station. And it's also got a massive parking area. And I'm hoping that the parking area kind of helps out for when we build up the city around it as well. Maybe they'll use that as well. And I also added in like a big maintenance building there. So it kind of looks like it's the maintenance for Osaka Castle as well, which I thought was good, because I wanted to keep Osaka Castle, like the entire grounds of this whole area. I wanted it to feel completely separate and isolated, and like it has its own little ecosystem, separate to anything else. So everything's always walled off. You've always got to drive through to get into Osaka Castle. Right, gates, all that lovely stuff. So it kind of feels like, you know, like what I said, it's got its own little ecosystem. And that's the vibe that I want, because like what I said, I want Osaka Castle to be the jewel of the city, and hopefully when we build up around it, it looks good and it doesn't look kind of weird with it being surrounded by bigger buildings. We'll just have to see. So if it looks weird, I guess we've learned for the future and we'll know better for the next city, I guess. Okay, so I'm basically gonna disappear because it's super late, and I feel that if I start talking about stuff because of how late it is, I do apologize. I've kind of messed this episode up in a way. I wanted it to be like this huge, massive thing. I've got this crashing problem. I've got other problems, and I also want this episode out as soon as possible so I can look into crashing problems, because I feel like that's a big thing. I do feel like we can send this episode out with a bang. I think that'd be pretty cool. So yeah, I do hope you all enjoyed the episode. The cinematics at the end might be a little bit longer than normal because I'm gonna show some close-ups of what we've built in this episode, as well as I'm going to end it on a big aerial view of Osaka Castle where we just go around in a circle or something. I think that'd be pretty cool. So once again, I want to thank you all for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed watching Osaka Castle. Not a 1-for-1 get Bill, but we've tried our best to look as good as we could, and I've messed up on a few things, and it doesn't look so great in some places. But I do hope you all like it, and I want to thank you all again. And like always, I'll see you all in the next one.
bye.